Okay, y'all. You asked, I answered. One of you DM'd me on Instagram and asked me if I could do a breakdown of what it costs to really become an instructional designer, and here I am today. Today I'm going to give you the breakdown of exactly what it costs to get started as an instructional designer. Hey friends, my name is Vanessa Alzate. I am the founder and CEO of Anchored Training, and on this channel, we help aspiring instructional designers and e-learning developers, just like you, get off of those sidelines and get into the L&D game. How much does it really cost to become a freelance instructional designer? You ready for this one? Free $99. You can definitely get started as an instructional designer without spending a dime. So there are a few things that you need as an instructional designer. First things first, you need some sort of email account, and this can't be your personal email where all of the advertisements that we sign up for because we wanted that 10% off coupon code when we made our purchase goes to. This is a completely separate account. You want to make sure that your email for your business is going somewhere separately so it is flagged and nothing gets lost in the middle of a whole bunch of junk. You don't have to go out and get Google Business and have, a specific for us, it's at Anchored Training email account. You can just create a Gmail account that says, Vanessa Alzate Learning at gmail.com or Vanessa Alzate ID at gmail.com to get you started. At this point in the game, I don't want you to worry about so much like changing everything and diving right into freelance. If you're still trying to figure out whether or not this is the field for you, or if this is the path for you, or freelancing is for you, don't spend a ton of money on something that you're not even sure you want to continue to do. Freelancing is not for everyone, okay? Freelance is hard. You are a business owner. You're an entrepreneur. You need to go out there, get your jobs, do all of those things that you don't have that like security and safety net always a salaried job. If you're interested more in my take on the difference between whether or not freelancing or full-time ID is best for you, give this video a thumbs up, and I can definitely make sure that I do one of those videos next. Back to what you need. Again, Gmail, free. And when you sign up for that Gmail account, you do get a certain amount of Google Drive storage. So you don't have to spend money on storing your documents. Also, although that I know when you work on articulate storyline files, you should be working on those locally. However, storing of files should never be done on a local drive. You always need a backup because you never know when that blue screen of death is going to pop up on your computer and you're going to lose all of your work. Just recently happened to one of my storyboard writers, and he had to stay up all night rewriting the storyboard. Learn from him. Back up your documents. The next thing that you want as an instructional designer is an invoicing system. And the reason for that, it just makes it a lot easier at tax time to pull out all of the records of what you invoiced out. It's a great way for you to see how much you're making in the business, and it's a great way for you to just have everything streamlined and organized. And bonus, these invoicing systems, you can usually email your invoice directly to your client and send them reminders when they haven't paid you yet. Wave is an invoicing tool that we've used in the past. I know a lot of the contractors that we use are on Wave as well, and it's free. You can get onto Wave for free. It's not what we use now because we have a whole kind of like a QuickBooks, but it's not QuickBooks, it's Zoho Books, but we have a whole QuickBooks type of system. We needed something a little bit more robust. But for all intents and purposes, if I had stayed at the level that, it was just me freelancing and I wasn't building an agency, I probably would have stayed on Wave for quite some time. You could still get a lot of those reports that you get out of QuickBooks, and it just makes life a lot easier and streamlined, and bonus, a lot more professional than what I did in the beginning of my career, which was an Excel spreadsheet with my invoice. I will tell you this. As you work in instructional design and you build up more freelance clients and you build up your clientele, the paperwork and the administrative stuff is always what goes on the back burner. And when you're so manual for things like invoicing, it is easy to make a mistake. Human error is inevitable. And if you're able to at least track everything through an online system and really see how much money you're honestly bringing in, it will help you make a lot of decisions better. I think I probably, if I'd seen my income right there in front of me, I probably would have stepped out into freelancing sooner than I did. I probably would have ditched my full-time job a lot sooner than I did, but because it was all manual on Excel spreadsheets, it was fine for what I needed at that time, but I didn't really see exactly how much I was making until I was getting my 1099s that following January. If you can have that ability to look at that, it will also help you balance like, okay, this is actually something that I can do and live the life that I want to live. And this is where I want to be going. And it will help give you kind of that picture. I'm obsessed with the fact that we're like getting all streamlined and straight in our Zoho books, because I'm really seeing a lot of things clearer than I ever have. And I will tell you this, it's like a mindset shift to like really be looking at your financials and like your expenses and your this and your that, but it is also liberating at the same time. Like me, I was like kind of embarrassed about like the mess that my books were for a long time, but you know what? Everyone's got to start somewhere. The big question, and I know why you're here. I know why you're here. You want to know if I'm going to tell you you need articulate storyline to begin as a freelancer. And my answer is no, you really don't. If you're a really good e-learning developer and that's what you want to do in your freelancing career, then yes, you do need to go out and get articulate storyline. Do not rely on your employer's license in order to do your side business freelancing. That's not cool. Also violates terms of agreement. But if you're an instructional designer and you don't know how to utilize storyline, or you don't know anything about e-learning development, or you're just learning, don't dip your toe into freelancing by going out there and being like, I'm going to be an e-learning developer. Dip your toe into freelancing by joining a team where you can focus on a piece of the project. Focus on finding a client. Maybe it's a lower paying client. Maybe it's a free exchange of, services or something, I don't know, where you're not doing e-learning. You're helping them create instructor-led content, virtual instructor-led content. You're helping them write a training manual. What you're doing at this free 99 stage is you're just dipping your toe into freelancing and seeing if this is what you want to be doing. Dipping your toe in the work and saying, what work do I like to do and what work don't I like to do? If you are going to take on projects where you need to have an e-learning authoring tool, then you need to go out and purchase that e-learning authoring tool. Some places will give you access to a license. I will tell you, I do not. If someone is coming to work at Anchor Training as an e-learning developer and they're not a full-time employee, I will not be providing a license to that tool. Why? Because I'm hiring you as a contractor, as an e-learning developer. Just like when I need an electrician, I don't provide the tools for my electrician. I expect that they're going to show up with the tools that they need to do the job that I am asking them to do, right? And that same thought process should be your thought process when you are working as a contractor, right? So for all of my contracts, come with my license, right? So I was like, yep, here I have access to Storyline, Beyond, this and that. If there is a project where I need another tool, I sit and I decide, can I take this project on? Is it worth it for me to take on and, work in this new tool? Or is it worth for me just to buy the license outright, right? So I have to kind of make those two calls. So that's the same thing that you have to think. If you are an instructional designer and you get offered an e-learning development role and it's something that you want to be doing, then you have to weigh out whether or not you want to buy that license. It's not cheap, right? It's $1,000 a year. There is no subscription model, like a monthly subscription model, which would be very nice. Those are not options. You have to decide if that's what you want to do. That's why I recommend at this like free 99 stage, you're just trying to dip your toe to figure out if freelancing is for you. So don't go out and spend the money and do other things in freelancing. You may get out there and be like, you know what? I freaking hate managing clients. Guess what a lot of your work is going to be as a freelancer? Managing clients. It's like babysitting sometimes. And people don't like that. They want to just like be head down doing the work. Then this type of freelancing might not be for you. Or you may not like writing up contracts, right? So you may have to go a different route. There's just all these things, these considerations that if you like throw caution to the wind and you're like, I'm going to go out on my own today and have nothing, have no safety net, no job, no nothing, like full-time job, you may get into it and realize that you might not like it. So at this stage, don't worry so much about spending money. Worry about gaining experience. When you're ready to take it to that next level, here are the things that you're going to want to spend money on. First things first, a business email account, right? So like a Google business account. I want to say like per user, it's like $6 a month. It's not cheap, but I get to brand my email, right? So all my emails come out from, at Anchored Training. It just gives that next level of experience and elevates you as a freelancer. Some of it kind of feels like smoke and mirrors, right? It's like, I just have an Anchored Training email account. I'm still me. It's the perception of what your clients or your potential clients see. If they see someone that's anchortraining@gmail.com versus info@anchortraining.com, just by looks alone, you may perceive info@anchortraining.com to be more upscale, legitimate, higher value. So I could maybe charge more, not just because of my email, but you see what I'm saying. When I'm emailing as anchortraining@gmail.com, yeah, my work is probably great and I know my clients are going to be happy, but I bet you they think like, well, maybe I could pay a little bit less. It's like just them. It's not really a business. It's just a freelancer. These are the things that people think. We may not want to admit it, but these are things that our clients are honestly thinking when they're looking at someone to hire, a vendor to hire. I would definitely recommend, once you've decided like, I'm going to be all in, I'm going to freelance, even if it's just like a side thing, right? And I don't mean to downplay even if it's just a side thing, because I did this on the side for a very long time. Even if it's a side hustle that you're working towards being able to leave your full-time job, elevate yourself by getting that email account. Establish your name. Take the time to figure out what it is that, what do I want my name to be when I'm out there. For some people, they want to go out there as their name. They don't ever have plans to become an agency or anything like that or work with others. Someone like me, I just chose Anchor Training because my friend named the company, but also I didn't want to use my name. My name is sometimes hard to pronounce for some people. Well, my maiden name I wanted, but then I realized that my maiden name sounded like it's Malara. Sounded like could be perceived as malaria, so glad I didn't go that route. So I chose Anchor Training. And you want to know something? That was the best decision I ever made. The best thing I did was listen to my friend and choose Anchor Training because it's grown into an agency. It's easy to say, even though some people say Anchor, easy to say, I can have a lot of fun with the branding and things like that. And I'm able to now develop my agency. It's not just me. It's not just my name. So people know now that you're not getting just Vanessa. You're getting a team when you work with us. Consider that when you're creating your Google business account. The next thing I would recommend is some sort of storage, some sort of cloud storage. So we use Dropbox, and I recommend you investing in having a sizable amount of storage. We have so many articulate storyline files and other files that we need to be housing. It just grows bigger and bigger and bigger. I don't love Gmail for storage or Google Drive for storage, and I don't get a ton of it. And I don't find it really easy to like share and access. So we use Dropbox, and it's been working for us, able to be integrated into ClickUp, which makes it easy for everyone to go in and access what they need. Invest in that cloud storage, back up all of your files. The next thing you want, your authoring tools. If you are going to be going into the world of e-learning development or digital learning development, then you're going to have to spend on things like Articulate Storyline, and that's like $9.99 a year. Camtasia, it's cheaper. It's like $200 or $300 a year, but it's still an expense. Vyond, we use Vyond a lot. Something that you're gonna need to spend on. So it's like $699 to $1,000 a year, and then they have this partner program because remember, every time you create something in Vyond, you have to transfer that video license to your client. So that's a $99 fee that you need to pay for. It should be part of your billing, and it should be part of your contracts and your invoicing. So you should be getting reimbursed for that, but it is a cost that you have to pay for. So as you can see, just those 3 authoring tools, you're getting up there into the thousands. And then the next thing I want you to consider for a cost, once you're ready to like really get out there, is your website and building out that portfolio. And in order to do that, you're going to need a domain name. That's about like $9 to $14 a year. The domain name is to buy it is so inexpensive. That's an easy one. That should be like one of the first things you do when you realize like this is going to be my thing forever. The next thing that you're going to have to buy though is your actual website, right? So what platform are you going to use to build your website? We use Squarespace. We used to be on WordPress, so we switched over to Squarespace a few years ago. For Squarespace, actually, I am about to have my yearly subscription renewed. It's $216 a year. So they're typically around $14 to $20 a month. And then the last thing I want you to consider that you may want to do, it's not a requirement. If you are a freelancer and you're a 1099, you can absolutely work under your social security number. You don't need an EIN or to LLC. That being said, when I chose to leave my full-time job and I was going to start doing some freelancing, it was just supposed to be me, right? So I could have just continued working under my social security number like I had done from 2011 to 2017, but I chose to LLC, and that is to become a limited liability company. The reason for that is because I wanted to separate and take the liability away from my personal assets from the business. It was just that next level for me. And that was just that level of protection. I had a family to consider, and a life and a home. And so I needed to separate my personal from the business. So I created an LLC. And you want to know something? It's super inexpensive to do that. I did all the paperwork to LLC myself. One night, just like went through and I filled out the application and I paid like $50 to $75 and that was it. I was LLC'd. And now the only thing I have to do for my LLC every single year is submit my annual report and pay my annual fee, which again is like a $50 to $75 fee. Also, I pay an accountant. This is not something that you need. When you are starting out, your expenses or your income and like the streams might not be so crazy that you might not need to have an accountant do your taxes. You can still go to, TurboTax or whoever, your friend, to do your taxes. I pay for an accountant. I paid for an accountant since I've gotten married. It was just easier for us. We had 2 full-time jobs, 2 businesses, and we didn't want the headache. For all in all, we pay our accountant about, I want to say like $1,000 now. I'm actually going to be going to her soon, so I will definitely let you know, but about $1,000 a year to do our taxes. So that is something that you'll want to consider as an expense if you are looking to elevate the business. Now, my taxes now are a lot different than when I first started out. So that $1,000 may seem like a lot for you, but we have like businesses and homes and things like that need to all be taken into account. Definitely something that you're going to want to price out and something that you might want to consider just for like that ease of mind. Like, I don't mess with the IRS. I don't mess with money. I don't mess with all of those things. I like to keep things, I'm a lawyer's daughter. I like to keep things nice and clean and all good and not something I need to mess around with, right? I don't want to end up like Teresa Giudice from Real Housewives of New Jersey. I pay for the accountant to make sure everything's squeaky clean. The other 3 things I want you to consider, and they're not really expenses, but they're things that you're going to want to budget for. One is a savings. As an instructional designer, when you're freelancing, you don't know when your next job's going to come. It's like this all the time. It's like a freaking roller coaster. So what I want you to do is start taking some of your money, like 10% of your gross income every year, and starting to save that. So that should be an expense that you consider. The second thing is professional development. This is a nice thing about a lot of companies. They'll set aside budget for you to go to conferences and things like that. As a freelancer, it's all on me, right? It's all on you. And conferences are expensive. They're like thousands of dollars to attend. Then you need hotel. Then you need to buy food while you're there. And you need flights. It's a lot of money. Budget some money every year for professional development. Maybe it's $500, and it could just be access to LinkedIn Learning in the beginning. But as you can continually budget and raise money for that goal or save money for that goal, eventually you can get to those bigger conferences that you've always dreamed of being at. If you become a speaker at one of them, at the very least, your ticket for entry is usually already paid for because you're speaking. And then finally, business cards. But here's my little tip on business cards. You don't have to go out and get them printed at Vistaprint. And yes, they're cheap. But you could also use an app called Hi Hello, which I've actually been using as my business card. So it's literally just an app on my phone. It's free. And I'm able to put in my contact information and any links and emails and all of that. And I just directly send this to anybody that I meet, and it gets right into their email and right into their contacts list. Or they can give me their contact information, and their contact information automatically gets saved to me. So it's something to consider as an additional expense, but like I said, it's free. So, are you ready to get your foot into instructional design? Well, friends, I've got the solution for you. I want you to join the Freelance Learning and Development Network because we've got a lot of really, really, really great things that are coming into the works. Some opportunities for coaching, some opportunities for brand audits, and we are going to be announcing them to the public for the first time live in our Facebook group first. So make sure you join that so you can get first dibs at coaching with me and really just first dibs at a lot of content, including Facebook Live. Friends, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.